All right. Sup again, perps. I think we're back. Reset my entire damn network. Um, don't know what happened. Don't know whether it was a computer network issue. Don't know. Reset the computer, reset network. Now we're back. So, Crump and everybody, if they end up going live at 5 like they do most days, then we'll just flip this and then bounce over to Crump stream. So this is kind of the intern hangout, basically. So this one is strictly to hang out, shoot shit. So let me do what I was going to do in the first place and throw the invite in the chat, open the floor up. And hopefully, we can have a pretty solid stream without everything going insane. Change some other stuff real quick. So, Warsaw, what's up, brother? Hey, the floor is open. Tim, same thing, man. What's going on? If I can figure out my ass from a hole in the ground. See what we got going on. I think that's got it. I think. Looks like my connection's still going a little bit stupid, but I'm not trying to stream anything right now. So, Warsaw, you're at work, brother. Have a good night at work, man. Earlier today, listening to all this stuff with the Attorney General. So they passed it through the House Judiciary to hold him in contempt. What in the up with this connection, guys? Let me see. Thing doesn't damn look like it. Okay, yeah. Well, at least you can kind of see me and hear me. Run Gun, what's up, my brother? Yeah, I saw that, man. That's cool as shit. Which, I mean, now they're talking about some stamps coming back in less than 24 hours. And it's funny because they're talking about that for new stamps, but a lot of guys with existing stamps that have been waiting for over a year are still waiting. Seems like you'd kind of work your way through the backlog while you were catching up. And yeah, that's what you said before. Is what, about 8.5 months. Just let's be honest, it's insane because none of it should be a stamp issue anyway. But at least if you're going to have the system to do stamps, do your damn jobs and approve the stamps. Your free SBR stamp never come through. Mm. Yeah, dude, we still got to get into that, Warsaw. And I'm still working on some network stuff. I think next thing I'm trying, because I set up a new wireless end of it, and I think the next thing I'm doing is scrapping the old router, going to another router. Um, but to be honest with you, it's still, I think, a situation where I've got to get the cable company to unscrew their end of it. Is I'm trying to knock out everything in between now and then, but I think that's what it's going to end up being. Is the cable company's going to have to unscrew their end? Because yesterday was decently solid. It's not as good as it used to be. Not as bad as it was for a little while. Now it's back to as bad as it was. Um, and my internet's not cheap uh, at all. So there's no freaking excuse for it to be this shitty. I mean, I realize they're doing a lot of work on lines and stuff around here. Well, that's all fine and damn dandy. Let me have my damn connection, because it is awfully annoying when I can't do very basic stuff as far as doing some streams. I'm trying not to eat up a whole lot of bandwidth on some other stuff, but still, man, it's just freaking killing me. I'm still trying to poke through a couple things real quick. To go back and look and see some of the stuff from the house today. I'm just kind of breezing through a couple things real quick. Very consistent claiming. Hold on, because we might have to be streaming something. We might have to. I might have to. Yeah, never give up. Fight it till the end. Down with the man. What the hell is this one? Oh, no, I see what that is. I see. And I seriously do think the next step is brand new router. Because crap, that's not what I wanted to do, damn it. Whoopsie. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to pin that. All right. And still, man, just watching this connection just drop off to nothing is fucking annoying. Yeah, which now, I mean, now you can get some pretty decent Wi-Fi extenders for not a whole lot. Um, but I've got a freaking, I don't know how many long hard cable that I've tried to use on a couple of streams to see whether it would alleviate some of the issues, and it's still just shit. Um, depending on the day. So it's definitely eliminating a lot of other stuff, and it's definitely going to be a damn cable issue that I dread having to damn deal with. Because they're the only cable company out in our area. And the only thing I have to them is cable internet, and it's supposed to be pretty damn fast cable internet. That apparently is like a damn yo-yo, because I can sit here and watch my signal and it'll be fine running full wide open, and then it just drops off to nothing. Bearded and tattooed guy, what's up, my brother? After today, after listening to shit today, and no, it's not a Bud Light, kids. You know me, I'm drinking Stones. Definitely beer 30. Uh, trying to look. Let me see something. I'm going to stop my cam for a little bit. See where this kind of level my signal out some. If it does, I actually am going to stream something that I just found that's also from today. Oh boy, boy. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can nail down which section this is in from today and who exactly this is speaking. Do, do, do. I will say this about fuck you, bearded. You're gonna do the same thing Man Against the Masses does. And I can kick myself every time I think about it. I've got to do a Man Against the Masses stream with all the memes that he's done about me, because they are hysterical. Um, he just sent me one with being. I gotta show him. God, we call Man Against the Masses the meme lord for a reason. The one where he gave me a tramp stamp was awful damn hysterical too. Let's see. Let's see if we can show this. Was it this one? Yeah. So we're gonna try this. We're gonna see whether it hangs in there. It's been hanging in, streaming some video halfway today. And I just want to bounce through. The House had the hearing this morning about holding Garland in contempt for not supplying the video of Biden, but there were still speeches going on the House floor and some debates going on the House floor. And I try to pick through those when I get a chance to see whether they're talking about firearms in any way. What are you looking at? Hey, kid. My daughter's in here. But I try to pick through and see what they're talking about as far as some of these bills and some of the other shit going on. So we'll see if this will actually play decent. Da, 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 da. Come on, Signal. Get back to where you're half-ass useful. I'll see whether this will stream. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So it's Police Week, the week when law enforcement officers who keep us safe all over the country come to Washington to remind us how important they are. And when members of Congress introduce resolutions and bills and give speeches in this chamber, letting them know how grateful we are for their service. I rise today partly to share in that gratitude. It's my privilege to represent the 19th Ward in Chicago, where
So far, mine
like
didn't get away exactly with that.
Home to huge chunks of the Chicago police force, from rank and file beat cops to the Cook County Sheriff himself. I'm also proud last March that I was able to bring home $372,000 in federal funding for police equipment in the village of Alsip. I'm grateful to all of the service of our law enforcement officers, but for a bigger reason. We're a nation of laws, and we only survive as a nation of laws if those laws are consistently and predictably enforced. And it's our brothers and sisters in law enforcement who make sure that they are. But I do find myself wondering how all these floor speeches this week look to them. How do all these pretty speeches sound to the local police chiefs who were pleading with us in 2020 to provide them with funding to shore up lost state and property tax revenue during the COVID downturn, who knew that they couldn't stay open without it, and also know that every single Republican voted against the American Rescue Plan that kept their officers paid? How'd all these pretty speeches look to the Capitol Police officers who are defending us right now? How do they feel when these speeches come from the same lips of members who still refer to people who assaulted the Capitol Police as political prisoners, or in one case as a martyr? How do all these pretty speeches sound to the FBI officers or local police who depend on the FBI to coordinate when crimes
the biggest thing with myself,
when they come from the lips of members of Congress who are regularly and consistently calling to defund the FBI?
Cell signals.
How do they sound to ATF officers who are forced, thanks to dumb laws led by my Republican colleagues, to spend hours every day tediously stripping personal identifying information from gun sales databases, making a mockery of the claim that it's people, not guns, that kill people? How'd all these pretty speeches sound to the victims of financial fraud who depend on the NLRB to protect them from wage theft, or the CFPB to protect them from junk fees, or the SEC to protect them from financial crimes, when the Republican Party is consistently trying to defund all three? After all, if somebody steals $1,000 from you, you're out $1,000. That is just as true if the crook is wearing a burglar's black mask or a huckster's white collar. And on that subject, how do all these speeches sound to our nation's criminals? You know the ones who every April misrepresent their income and assets and commit tax fraud because they trust that the Republicans are going to consistently block funding and resources. This supports
Democrat policies where if you steal under $1,000 from the store, hey, you ain't got to be prosecuted. And
finally, how do you think all these speeches sound to E. Jean Carroll's rapist? The guy who was subsequently convicted in court of lying about that rape and still hasn't paid the $83 million fine imposed by law enforcement professionals for that lie, much less the $355 million fine imposed on him for unrelated financial fraud. The guy who most of you wouldn't trust with your retirement savings, the guy who none of you would trust for an evening alone with your teenage daughter, who all of my Republican colleagues think should be the next president of the United States. Oscar Benavides, the former president of Peru, famously said, "For my friends, everything; for my enemies, the law." I gotta check and
see what my internet's actually supposed to be pushing, but it's supposed to be pushing good enough.
Fascism is built.
More than good enough to be able to.
It's not the way that you ensure that everybody has equal protection under the law, nor is it the way to honor the men and women who dedicate their life to that principle. And I hope that next year on Police Week,
bandwidth on some of these games.
That isn't such a partisan idea. I yield back.
Would like to remind members to refrain from engaging in personalities toward presumptive nominees for the office of president. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Michigan, Ms. Tlaib, for 5 minutes.
My office is bringing home over $17 million in federal funding for 15 community projects throughout the 12th Congressional District this year.
Janis Joplin, baby. That is
I'm
about
so
it.
proud to have partnered up with civic and community leaders throughout the district to prioritize the needs of our
That's on.
residents
That was
with transformative
Bobby
projects,
McGee. A line from
Madam
Bobby
Speaker.
McGee.
From home repairs to affordable housing, to removing lead out of our water, to helping our seniors with flood
It's like I
recovery
said a lot of
resources,
times, man.
to
Americans aren't
workforce
free.
development, to
We
neighborhood
really and truly
revitalization,
just have the
and
prettiest
also to
bars
help
on our
decrease
cages.
pollution
That's
in
what
our
we got.
neighborhoods because our residents deserve to breathe clean air. We got $4 million for Wayne
Because
County, our
anytime
largest
these little
county in the
wannabe
district,
tyrants want to
and
push
$3
some of their
million to the city of
plans,
Detroit to facilitate lead service line replacement.
uh,
We all know that our children cannot learn if they're being poisoned with.
let me stop her for a sec because I want to look at a couple other things. Let's see, because I'm started like it should have. I think. All right. This looks like it's over the Leo bill. And there's one thing about it. If you're be completely, absolutely insane bullshit like we listened to earlier today, if you dig a little bit, you'll find more absolutely retarded bullshit that they're saying. Oh yeah, it's dude. We haven't been free since long before the '60s. Um, the really and truly, when you look at it, and people can argue with me if they want, but the start of the Civil War killed our Constitution. Dead as a bag of hammers, it killed it. And people jump up and down about, oh, Civil War, free slaves. Had nothing to do with that. It didn't. I mean, even Lincoln talked about it then. Didn't have anything to do with it. But when states were no longer, Bob, hold on. When states were no longer allowed to opt in or opt out of the system, then it was all by force, and it was dead. Then it's no longer governed at the consent of the governed. So what's going on, Bob?
Just trying to stay awake. I've been having
Trying to
trouble
stay awake.
sleeping. Yeah, I figured I'd
hear
pop in.
that.
I got that adapter so I can use my regular phone headset with this. So, and then,
Oh hell yeah, man!
then StreamYard wouldn't support Safari, so I had to download Firefox. So it's been a adventure getting here.
Oh yeah, man! It can be. It definitely can be. It's
yeah.
Once
I'm
you
using the Easy
get
Computer,
things
right?
kind of,
The Mac.
yeah, it's once you get things kind of set there, that it everything will generally be pretty easy. But that first little bit, yeah, it was like freaking. I don't know. It just got crazy. Because
Yeah.
when they switched up like the ports on the iPhones, where you had to have the adapter and all this crap,
Mm-hmm.
I just started buying wireless earbuds at that point because it was too much of a pain in the ass to try to deal with an adapter. And
yeah, oh, don't get me started on the iPhone when they remove the headset jack. Well, I guess I can use this one, but for what I had used the iPhone for is, I have a microphone that goes in my ear because I had to record a lot of telephone calls, or at least I used to, and And so when they got rid of the headset jack, I was like, I'll just use my personal iPhone. At least that one still has one. My work one didn't have one anymore after that one died. So
Yeah.
Anyway, Tim Cook is, don't get me started about that jack wagon.
Oh, dude. you get any
He's
of
doing
us
what
started
Apple is
about
what Biden's doing to the country.
It's insane the people that get voted in to basically rule over us, because that's what they do. They don't represent us.
Indeed. They're supposed to kind of, sort of, but democracy is just soft communism when it comes down to it. So,
yeah, well, that's why they're all about protecting their democracy. They want that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense then. Yeah.
Well, figure it, man. If we were still a true republic, it wouldn't matter who the president was.
Right, and the president really shouldn't have all this power.
Yeah, there would be all the restraints in the world on them. They wouldn't be able to do this stupid shit. And it wouldn't matter who the president is. You more than likely, most of us would never even know who it was. Instead, we got, this absolute potato in office right now, and all of his little minions.
An attorney friend of mine said, should quit giving the president Secret Service protection. Just let the others knock him out, because president should be fungible.
Hey, and all these politicians should be.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest issues these days, man. They're so insulated from the public that they can get up there and lie to you all day long. They're not afraid of someone walking up and just punching them in the mouth and calling them a liar.
Yeah, if you punch him in the mouth, that's a federal crime.
Yeah, well,
a law that they passed.
Well,
goodness.
Yeah, punch me.
So what are you watching?
In the face, I'd probably pass it too.
Yeah. You cut out there.
Oh man, as far as like I said, I'm going to try this, and if it doesn't do it, I'm just going to turn it off, and we'll just sit around and shoot shit.
All right.
The gentleman reserved. The gentleman from New York is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, before I speak on the Leosa Reform Act,
it's Nadler.
let me express my deep disappointment in the behavior of the Judiciary Committee majority. The Judiciary Committee is now considering a resolution to hold in contempt the Attorney General of the United States for refusing to submit certain audio recordings to the committee. I think it's a deeply wrong request.
I would love to see Trump and Biden go
my
fist to
opinion in
fist.
committee. I'm not going to go through it here again, but the point is, we have a series of Judiciary Committee bills now, and the Judiciary Committee is meeting on that resolution now, so that members of the Judiciary Committee who may want to speak on this series of bills we're going to be considering now cannot, because they're trapped in the Judiciary Committee.
This is what Nadler was doing when he disappeared from the vote today.
The contempt resolution. And I cannot vote against the contempt resolution because I'm stuck here. It is normally the practice that when you have committee business on the floor, you suspend the committee meeting so that people can do their work. And I very much protest that the committee is still meeting while we have committee bills on the floor, so that I must choose between dealing with these bills or voting on the contempt citation, and other members of the committee cannot be here to debate these bills. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the Leosa Reform Act. This bill threatens the safety of all Americans by advancing the Republican agenda of more guns for more people in more public places. In 2004, Congress enacted the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act, or LEOSA, which forced states to allow off-duty and retired law enforcement officers to carry concealed weapons,
Sorry about that.
even when doing so conflicted with
unplug
that
my damn
state's
headphone.
concealed carry laws. It garnered bipartisan opposition, including from the Republican chairman of the Judiciary Committee at the time, Mr. Sensenbrenner, because it supplanted the judgment of the states about the appropriate use of firearms. It was also opposed by organizations such as the International Chiefs of Police, which was concerned that it could endanger law enforcement by causing confusion among local police who might not be able to distinguish between a criminal and a retired officer using a firearm. Other organizations opposed it because it could put police agencies at risk for liability for an officer who misuses a weapon in another state, and because the requirements for retired officers were insufficient. Despite these objections, LEOSA became law. But importantly, it included exceptions for places like government buildings, gun-free school zones, and private property.
I wish we could
where
duct tape
states have
his
a
mouth.
special interest in
He's already
retaining
had his
control
stomach
of their gun
stapled.
safety laws. These exceptions have been in place for 20 years and have served as important protections. But this legislation tosses those exceptions out the window. It forces states to allow off-duty and retired officers
This is
carry
what was so
firearms
important
on
with him. He
playgrounds,
couldn't stay in the
in
committee
government
meeting.
buildings, and on buses, trains,
He had to come run his
subways,
mouth
and
about
boats.
this.
It undermines state laws limiting magazine capacity. It reduces the rights of private property owners who may not want concealed weapons on their property or in their businesses. And it relaxes training standards so that some people will be able to carry a concealed firearm even though it has been 3 years since their last firearms training certification. In addition, this legislation unravels federal laws that have kept firearms out of federal facilities. It does this for federal facilities that are, quote, open to the public, and that are classified as, quote, facility security level 1 or 2, definitions that will create significant confusion for those trying to abide by it and for those tasked with enforcing it. For example, if a federal facility is only partially open to the public or only open to the public during certain hours, does it fall within the bill's definition? We don't know. What about a facility that is open to the
you really
public
want to do that
so
to
long
a
as they're
dog?
not carrying firearms?
At least use a
The bill
cat.
does not say. And as the bill
Be the
itself
closest
states,
he ever came to
the
eating
facility
pussy.
security level is determined on a facility-by-facility basis and may not be publicly posted. So it is virtually impossible to know what federal facilities are included in this definition. We looked for a listing of federal facilities that are classified at these security
Yeah, I know you
levels,
said dog tag.
and we could not find one.
The dog joke
Members
was
may
there.
even have offices in federal facilities that will suddenly be forced to allow concealed firearms in their doors as a result of this legislation.
I couldn't pass up the
Not only
I
would this
couldn't
bill
pass up the
inject
dog joke.
confusion into federal law, but it also intrudes onto private property rights and undermines states' careful determinations on how best to protect their citizens from gun violence. I urge members to join me in opposing this misguided legislation, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. Mr. Speaker, I actually listed 4 organizations. There are 21 law enforcement agencies and organizations around the country that support this legislation. And with that,
Let me see. That was Nadless Nadler. I think the next part of this is this dude speaking, so let me kill that. All right, so from what it looks like, they didn't get as far into some of it as what I thought they would. So that's where Nadler was when he was supposed to be in the committee here, and he was down there on the floor, basically saying that no matter how much training you have, you still shouldn't be able to carry a gun. Even though every time we argue about it, talk about concealed carry, something like that, they always bring up, well, police are trained. They should be able to carry, and you should have to have this level of training. And then when someone does have that level of training, they still go, well, they shouldn't be able to do it. So fuck them.
Right.
Oh, God. It's like playing Monopoly with a damn 4-year-old. No matter what, they win.
Right.
Either that, or they just get bored, tip the board over, throw everything everywhere, and then walk away.
Oh, they have to throw a temper tantrum first.
Oh yeah. Oh, my daughter could throw a pretty good temper tantrum at 4. Way better than my son can. My son just gets dramatic over it.
Oh,
He acts like he's injured. He acts like he trips and falls, and he's like, "Oh, my arm, oh, my knee." My daughter was flat out drama the whole way. The world was ending.
you should go get an ice pack and freeze his arm.
Oh shit! I tell him rub some dirt on it and get up. This is the same boy that I've caught in the last little bit. I've got a pretty open floor plan in the house. We got a raised bar top.
Huh.
Apparently, jumping off the table wasn't high enough for him, so I've caught him the last couple of days climbing onto the bar top and jumping off. My 4-year-old.
Yeah, I remember those days.
My fat ass ain't jumping off that right now.
Oh, sure. We don't bounce as well as we used to.
Oh fuck no! I don't bounce near as well as I used to. 47, yeah, I don't bounce near as well as a 4-year-old.
When I was a kid, my sister and I liked to climb up on the dresser in our parents' bedroom and then jump onto their bed.
Oh yeah. I've definitely got 2 little daredevils when it comes to kids. 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and well, they get their share of bumps and bruises and everything else, and they're hysterical while they're doing it, but you can't slow them down.
Yeah. But they have to learn through negative reinforcement one way or the other.
Oh, Bearded. Hey, tell her I said hi too. Yeah. Oh, dude, I waited till late to do the marriage thing and the kid thing. Well, I am playing catch up.
I'm still waiting. I'm a couple years older than you, so.
Which in some ways is cool, and in other ways it's like, good God, man.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy I had when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. Some people say I'm still part of the Living Right Club.
The little jokers will run you to death. They are a hoot, man. I love them. And that's probably what pisses me off so much about the way things are going real sideways in the country right now is that I do have 2 that are coming up that are really young that I actually want to grow up in a free country.
Yeah.
That I want to have freedom. But
most of our freedoms went away when 9/11 hit. I mean,
that was a big chunk, man.
I mean, the Bush and everyone accomplished, more than any leftist could ever dream of in their wildest wet dreams.
Oh yeah, with the spy state they developed.
Yeah.
With the Patriot Act, and there were a few other things that went on. The Patriot Act was just one of the ones that that was right out there in front. And I was, 22, 22 maybe a little younger than that. But when all that really came about, and I didn't understand all of it. I had my suspicions about it then, but after watching how that's gone since, 2022 when it got passed, it is completely upside down.
Right. Yeah.
To where they monitor everything.
Yeah.
There was
I was deep into the computer industry at that time. I was like, they have to be monitoring everything now.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
There was a hearing it might have been over 2 years ago now, and they had some people from the NSA in, and they basically got asked the question about data collection, and they kind of roundabout admitted to, yeah, they collect every single bit of electronic communication and data in the United States.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah, yeah. That big data farm in Utah, I believe.
Yeah.
That wasn't built for nothing.
No, no. And I mean they everything. They capture everything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all basically broken down and searchable. So if they find you in one place and they're like, "Oh, well, I want to see what his history is," you
Mm-hmm.
bet your ass they can pull it up.
Yeah.
And that includes all your financial records. That includes all of your media, everything that you consume as far as media, you name it. All that stuff is there.
Yes.
And that should terrify most people, because with the system of laws we have, and as many laws as are on the books right now, Massey mentioned it in a hearing yesterday or day before, and Nadler made fun of it for it's the book 3 felonies a day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there are just so many laws, people you don't know all of them.
Yeah, it's probably more than 3 felonies a day now.
Yeah,
since that book was written.
Yeah, you commit crimes that you get charged with a felony for constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And if they really wanted to go prosecute you for a lot of these things, all they got to do is, of course, dig through your electronic data and pow. Well, there's a felony, there's a felony, there's a felony, and that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. And probably most people are committing copyright felonies.
But yeah, it could be anything from copyright, order the right amount of products, and you're in constructive possession of something. Whether it's the proper amount of chemicals that could make a bomb, the proper amount of chemicals that can make a semi-auto, you name it. There's so much out there.
Yeah, well, I was actually surprised. I was going through Amazon one day, and I think this was after there was a news story that a husband was looking for backpacks while his wife was looking for pressure cookers, and I was like, all right, well, can you actually what can we find on Amazon? I was like, oh, I just I can put the ingredients for thermite in my basket and buy it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to test it, but I was like, I was a little bit surprised that you could just order the ingredients off Amazon.
Well, so and DLD would be the one to ask about some of this, because he knows more about the energetics end of things.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, if you have the stuff to make energetics, or even if you do make energetics, aka explosives, and you're using them that day, you're doing something kind of experimental with them, no harm, no foul. I don't think there's anything against any of that. However, if they connect it with, oh, you're social media and you're anti-government, and then they come up with their own plot and they write everything out and then get your ass, that's a whole lot different.
Sure. And then you're tried in front of a bunch of 100 IQ people, So
shit, more like 10 IQ. You're giving them a whole lot more credit.
Yeah, just picking the average. Room temperature or less.
Well, look at Dexter Jackson or Dexter Taylor up in New York.
Where the judge said, the 2A doesn't apply in my court.
Yeah. Well, even if the 2A doesn't apply in your court, lady, the state constitution has the same protection written into the state constitution. So what about that?
Mm-hmm.
And she just blows it all off. She's like, no, you can't use that defense in my court.
Mm-hmm.
And that lady, she should be the one in prison.
I agree. Yeah, she taking away somebody's freedoms, should come with actual due process, and also, a judge should consider the gravity of that. I mean, judges used to be honorable.
Oh yeah, used to be,
or at least they appeared to be.
And Colt's right about this. So say I have an AR pistol with a 10-inch upper on it, and I've got a rifle lower. Yeah. Even if that rifle lower has a rifle length barrel on it, if those two are in the same room, that's constructive possession of an illegal SBR, because it's readily convertible. I can pop 2 pins, pop a lower on, pop it
Mhm.
back together. There I am.
Yeah.
You know, unless everything under 16 inches as far as a rifle in my house has a stamp for it instead of it
Mhm.
being a pistol.
Mhm. I thought I thought one of the gun lawyers did a thing on that and said that that might be okay.
It can be, but
He said that that wasn't constructive possession.
well, that
Although
kind of
I know what you're saying.
yeah, that kind of comes down to whether they want to put you through the process or not.
Hmm.
And you know, like I do, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, to fight the case.
Yeah, I would say hundreds to succeed, to have a chance of succeeding.
So it's like hell. So building AKs, and it's probably the same with a lot of other parts kits. When you order a D-mill parts kit, they send you all of the parts except the receiver and the barrel.
Hmm.
That means when I've ordered AK kits, I've got in full auto sears.
Hmm.
Now, none of my AKs have a third hole drilled in them for a third pin or anything like that, and don't have the
Hmm.
cuts for a auto sear to run in. But if
Uh,
somebody wanted to be a douchebag, if I screwed around and left one laying around versus destroying it, oh, that's constructive possession.
well, what's her name? Emily Taylor, one of the
From
armed
armed attorney.
attorneys.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. She said if you put a full auto seeker on your necklace, you know, you can. That's it. That's a felony. You're going to jail.
Yeah. These idiots in Alabama were voting. I don't think it made it through the judiciary in Alabama, and they were trying to aim this. Of course, they say they're aiming it at Glock switches, and it
Mhm.
was making it illegal to have possession of anything that could basically make a gun run full auto.
Right.
So by their law, when I order a parts kit, if they won't take the auto sear out of the parts kit, the minute I pick it up at my mailbox, hell, the minute I order it basically, and it gets shipped,
Mm-hmm.
I've broken a law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not to mention it coming through the mail, that would make it federal. And then when I pick it up out of my mailbox or off my doorstep, wherever they leave it, well, then all of a sudden I'm in possession of a automatic, device.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether I build the gun to where it won't accept it or anything like that. It's the mere possession of it, which to
Yeah.
me is straight out insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Charge.
Oh yeah, and Colt 1927. I think you said unless you Form 1 it for
Yeah.
a full auto, you have to get something had been serialized before whatever date, 1986.
86. Yep,
Yeah.
86. Now you
They
can
had the Hughes
still
Amendment.
Form 1 SBRs, SBSs. You can
Yeah.
still do all that.
Yeah.
You have to pay your $200 extortion fee, otherwise they throw you in prison for 10 years.
Yeah. But no more making your gun full auto unless it was already unless you already got a tax stamp for it prior to 1986, and
Yeah.
you got a transfer from somebody who did.
Yeah, the gun would either have to be built full auto
And
before
registered.
1986 and registered, or it would have to be some sort of drop-in device that was registered pre-86.
Yeah, I've seen drop in. What are those ones for the Colt?
You still got the lightning
drop in
link.
auto sear. Yeah.
Basically the shit that they try to say that CRS was putting out.
Yeah, lightning link.
Even though the ATF's own Fat D department couldn't get it to work.
Yeah, that was
all the time in the world, all the equipment in the world, all the supposed expertise in the world, they couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
I think they got it to fire a couple rounds, but what they did is they actually caused a hammer follow.
Yes.
So it would have done the same thing if they just took the disconnector out of the trigger.
Yes.
And then used really light primers.
Yeah, which is what they had to do. They had to use really light primers to get it to work. Which is,
I won't say it's the height of insanity, but it's high up that fucking building.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I've seen YouTube videos where folks are making their own guns, and they have footage of them on the range, and something malfunctioned and it went full auto.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what do you throw them in jail then, or just
Dude,
or is that just working out the bugs?
I've had it happen. Well, that's one of the reasons when you test a gun, typically what you'll do is throw in a live round, throw in a dummy round, and then throw in a live round.
Mhm.
That way you can malfunction check the gun. And I have had a polymer 80 where the sear engagement wasn't right, and that joker would fire good, fire good, fire good, fire 3. And I had to go in and adjust that sear surface to get it to where it was only firing semi-auto.
Right.
But that's what you do when you build a gun, you test a gun and all that. But yeah, it's one of the, I'd have to go back and look at the case. There was one of the cases that the ATF was pushing. Crump and a couple other guys did a video on it, and they were calling it the smallest machine gun because there was a part that broke, and I can't remember whether it affected the disconnector or what, but that gun would run full auto. But it was a malfunction. It was an actual broken part, and the ATF was charging a dude with it. I'd have to dig that back up and do a little bit more research on it, but it's just freaking crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, Bearded, there were a lot of people that said stuff, but here's the thing with CRS's case. And I believe him when they talk about it. He actually did contact the ATF. And matter of fact, the dude who manufactured the auto key cards actually talked to people from the ATF, and they said, no, this is all good. And my thing about it is, and people say, oh, he was poking the bear. Okay. You should be able to poke that bear all up in its nose, eyes, nuts, twat, whatever else you want, as long as you don't actually step across the line and break the law. And I don't agree with the law itself, but he never went across that line. That's why it should really terrify people with the gray areas that people find in some of these laws. You either do or you don't. That should be the way it is. You either do or you don't. You can walk all the way up to the line. Just don't cross it.
Right. And CRS, Matt Hoover, he had an SOT on his FFL, and he called his ATF representative, and his ATF representative said, yeah, that's not a firearm. And there was also another case where there was they drew out, they had markings on a plate, which then you drilled out and you bent to make an AK receiver, and that was not a firearm. So yeah, the whole CRS Matt Hoover thing stinks to high hell.
Oh, it does. And believe it or not, and Crump and them did a video on it. I looked into it. There's a worse case than fucking CRS. And that's that dude from the Navy who was selling parts kits that he bought off a gun broker. He had his basically own little company selling parts. And the ATF set him up. He's the one, he had a demilled RPG. And the ATF went in and fixed the cutout in the RPG. Then they put their own trigger group in the RPG, made it function, and then said he was in possession of a destructive device.
Yeah.
And then the machine gun parts gun kits that he was dealing with were saw cut. Now, they were approved for import by the ATF, sold on Gunbroker. He bought them off a Gunbroker and then turned around, and there was a whole thing about an informant and shit. But he was selling those, and then the ATF went in and said, nope, you're selling illegal machine guns. So yeah, there's Matt Hoover's case is horrible, but there are worse cases out there where the ATF has actually absolutely manipulated evidence to convict people. And that's just how dirty they are. To me, that wipes away. Does the ATF take some bad people off the street? Yes, they do. But the amount of good people that they've taken off the street completely wipes that work away.
Or murdered.
or flat out murdered, like this dude in Arkansas. We
Right.
did some
Yeah.
videos on him. Even if he was buying a gun, someone told him, "Hey, I want this type of gun." He bought the gun, then he sold the gun to them. I don't give a rat's ass about it. If he was flipping a gun to make some money off of a gun, I don't. Until you can put him in the ghetto selling guns to known felons, I do not care. In the cases they brought up that his guns showing up in crimes were like 3 cases where someone had the gun on them and had weed on them. And
yeah, they were just pulled over, right, with weed, and they found one of the guns he had sold them.
Yeah, and then in one of them, the gun he sold to another dude. The dude actually reported the gun stolen, and then it showed up in California with, guess what? A gang.
Oh, okay. Oh, he reported stolen, then it showed up in California. Got it.
So this guy is not fucking Scarface, and he's obviously it's not the majority of his income, because I guarantee you he's making more money managing that airport.
Oh, sure. That's at least 200. In fact, you could that's probably a public record thing. You probably look it up.
Yeah, we could probably dig it up. Hey, give me just a sec. Sing and dance or something. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, Bearded, thanks for your 2 cents. We appreciate it. So we've gone through this Matt Hoover thing many times, and I liked what the Four Boxes Diner had to say about it, where if you sold a Dixie cup and said it would turn your AR-15 into a machine gun, they wadded up the Dixie cup and it created a hammer follow, but did not turn it into a machine gun, then nope, not a machine gun. And then also it's Mark Smith at the Four Boxes Diner. Good YouTube channel if you get a chance. He had said that they should have the a single shot film of the ATF using the auto key card, have them cut it up and install it into a AR-15 to make it full auto, and that would be, if they couldn't do it in one camera shot, then he and then Matt Hoover and Justin are not guilty. That's my 2 cents on it. I agree with Mark. And I would not have poked the bear like he did. But
This is back.
But Matt's Matt. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. So,
well, there's a lot of things I wouldn't do to poke the bear.
Yeah, my risk aversion is higher than Matt's.
It's kind of like with the pistol brace stuff. Okay, so when they came down with all this retarded ass pistol brace, one, I've said it publicly, I'm not changing shit on my pistols. I built them legally. I built them by ATF rules. I just built another one when they came down with it. Because everybody's got their own risk aversion. God knows I don't want to go to prison or anything like that. But sooner or later, you got to tell these people to fuck off. You got to.
Right. Yep. All right. Right now, braces are legal. That's my understanding. I haven't checked lately. I think we're. Did they get did the Supremes issue the grant cert? Okay.
They did the bump stock arguments. I'm not sure exactly where the brace is. I'm thinking that's going to go up. That and the frames and receiver rule will go up. And I think the assault weapons bans are going to kind of get held down for a little while. So,
you're going to love this. Cargill's my FFL.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. But dude,
if you can believe that, I didn't even know it. I was reading the Cargill case and I was like, is this the same guy? And looked at, it's like, sure enough, Michael Cargill. It's like, yep, all right.
Oh, there was a short, it's probably been about a month ago, 2 months ago, where something about somebody going stupid in a gun store, and there's this chick in a gun store just losing her shit, getting arguments with other customers, and you see this dude walk out, grab her, and then tote her out of the store, and it was Cargill.
Oh, okay.
I posted on it. Damn, that looks like Cargill.
Yeah,
And,
he's
back
short,
was
but
like,
he's
yep.
stout. He can, I can imagine him doing that. But, yeah, I enjoy talking to him. He's a nice guy, and
he seems
we
like
generally
it,
end up talking about Texas gun laws. So,
he seems like a real solid dude, man.
yeah,
Normally, if he's doing something online and stuff, I try to catch him.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Him and the couple of the guys that do shows with him and stuff.
Yeah, I saw him the first time online with I can't remember the guy out east. Yeah, I think he has a beard, and he has the that Christmas leg lamp in his background. I can't think of its name.
Which one? Sounds familiar, but I can't think of the dude's name.
Yeah. I can't either. And I think I'm subscribed to like 1,000 YouTube channels, so I can't find it there either.
Dude, I haven't looked at how many channels I'm actually subbed to right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's for a long time, hell, especially under my old account, man, I didn't consume a ton of gun content.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to more music than I did anything.
Okay.
Until probably 2021, really. Maybe 2020 when I really started getting into a bunch of gun content.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from a few different reasons, but it just for the longest time, man, almost nothing on my channel that I followed was gun content. Now a lot of it's legal content, it's gun content, and then I still follow, Sam of Anarchy, who's in the chat a lot of times. He's got just where he posts stuff on games, and there's some other stuff I follow like that. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty wide range, but heavily gun content that I follow now.
Yeah.
Colt says bracelet. Well, let me get back. Bearded was talking about, don't you think Matt should have backed off a little bit? Yeah, I think he should have. But
I think Matt should have had his T's crossed and his I's dotted, right? They should have sent it in. One, he should have recorded the conversation with his ATF rep if he was permitted to do so in that state. Might be, I don't know.
I don't
think we should have gotten a letter from Fat T saying it's not a firearm.
Yeah. I really don't think when it came down to it that Matt really understood just how dirty the ATF is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he understood completely just how they will basically just take evidence and twist it and turn it to actually convict you. I think he still had some faith in the justice system at the time.
Yeah, and perhaps a little trust in government, you know, that they wouldn't, Anyway, he probably hasn't lived long enough to or heard enough stories about the government screwing people over.
You ban me for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know about reset triggers right now. I think. Have you heard of the ATF going after any more reset triggers except the
it's
the super safety?
YouTube will ban the shit out of you no matter what. The worst mistake I think I've seen some people do when it came to YouTube was actually deleting some videos and they didn't save them to their own system. So they just flat out deleted the entire video. So when YouTube came back and deleted them or struck their channel for something, they had no evidence that that's not what happened. But I never figured my YouTube channel would last this long any damn way.
Just monetize it, then they'll look at it and kill it.
Well, I looked at monetizing. I'm kind of in the process of it. I got to see how far I'm along that rabbit trail.
Yeah, I think when you monetize, they're going to look at it more closely, and
they're there for a little while. I know they were on my channel pretty decent, because you could see if I went in on another account and search for my channel, you can see how far it got buried from 1 week to the next. And even when I was doing content really regular, you could see that for a little while it was then they just started sandbagging the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't even find your lives on there
It
unless I
dropped to the floor.
go to your channel. I have to like search at the top, CNT
Yep.
Designs and Arms, and then I have to go into your channel and see if you're live. Yeah, it won't pop up when I just say go to subscription. It has all these other live streams up, but yours doesn't come up.
Oh yeah, they're for a little while, and it was different today. Today I could actually look and I could see my stream. But there for a little while, yeah, it was buried. You like you said, you actually had to go to my channel and look for the stream to even know it was happening.
Yeah.
There for a little while, hell, if I did a live and I'd have another screen or another computer or my phone popped up that wasn't logged in, I could search for it and it would pop right up in the results. And then shit, for a little while, nope. Dude, it was so buried it wasn't even funny.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they don't like my lack of respect for government.
Yeah. Well,
Hillbilly got his taken down. Oh yeah, dude. That's one of the things, and I've said it on streams before. So you flash a gun on YouTube, and they will find you within seconds. I think I clocked it one time, and it was right kind of on the limit where they were letting us show guns again on live, and then they were not letting us show. It took them less than 30 minutes or 30 seconds to shut a live down when I flashed the gun.
Oh, okay.
But they claim they can't find all the kitty stuff on their site.
Oh, goodness.
They can't find all the really adult stuff that is going to kids' channels. It kind of shows you where their priorities are at, and it ain't to protect kids. Oh, that happened last week, Colt? Yeah, hell, Dark got a stream knocked down.
Yeah, just for showing a picture of a guy and a forever sleeping deer.
Yeah. There's nothing there that's against community guidelines. Matter of fact, he got another one. Rich got him another one knocked down the other night for apparently showing off a receiver. But yeah, and I got Dark knocked down one night, and I was showing a frame from a Polymer 80. So
well,
no slide.
You thought it was that guy who got butt hurt over being tossed off because he's being a dill hole.
Yeah, I think that probably
because it didn't get shut down until about an hour later after you showed the frame. So.
Yeah, I think it was about 30 something minutes after I finally got pissed off and knocked that dude out of the chat.
Yeah.
And that's when we got knocked down that night. So and that's what it more likely was. He went in there, reported, they're showing this. And then of course YouTube kills it. They don't give a shit.
Right. Especially with those numbers. What's his name? Mr. Guns and Gear. Yeah. He has 900,000, and he said, he when he had to go take a bunch of videos down, he said he has his own YouTube rep because he has so many subscribers. They don't want to lose business.
Oh no! After you get to a certain limit or a certain number of followers, you'll get your rep where you can deal with someone kind of direct. But even then, whether it's Guns and Gear, Guns and Gadgets, all these guys that have huge followers, Brandon Herrera, you name it, all these guys still got to play the YouTube game.
Right.
And if anybody
was a human being to talk to,
and if anybody was planning on starting a channel and wanted some advice on it, I'd recommend CloverTac, because CloverTac, he knows those guidelines, and he knows who to get in touch with in one way or another, and he really knows the YouTube platform really well. But it's amazing to me, really and truly. Like I said, you show off something that looks like a gun, they can shut your stream down, but they can't go find all the kitty stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's now we streamed oral arguments one time where Twitter, and it went all the way up to Supreme Court. I can't remember what the last final decision was on it, but Twitter was informed about a kid that was in a video. The video got reported, and Twitter was still allowing that to be posted on their site and to be shared on their site and streamed on their site.
Mm-hmm.
But God knows I had a picture of a dead doe and a marlin. Oh God. No, it was a savage. Can't remember what model savage it is. This is a Lever Action 308. Had that in my profile pic, and they banned my profile account over that.
Mm-hmm. But
they can't go find a video they've been informed about and start banning people over that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it shows you where these tech companies are at.
Yeah. And I haven't heard of, you remember like several years ago when they said YouTube had all these contractors that they had to review videos, and they're going crazy because they're reviewing all these, beheadings and whatever. Yeah. Don't hear that anymore, do you?
I think in some cases they've got a really large reliance on the AI stuff right now, but they still do have people going in physically and looking at this stuff. But it's kind of what they're looking for at any given time. And they're so focused on gun content that they don't even pay attention to a lot of it anymore.
Right.
They certainly ain't paying attention to, again, getting back into kids and stuff like that. They ain't paying attention to that.
And they
not
should.
by a long shot. Yeah, that should be one of the main focuses. If you really want to protect kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll take down videos from Autumn's Armory or the 2A kids or something like that. Oh, it's kids with guns, and then they'll leave this other shit rolling. And it's, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Colt said, guess you should change your icon. You might, man. Like I said, dude, which there for a little while, man, I was getting banned on Twitter. Shit. I'd get banned. I'd fight about 3 weeks to 4 weeks to get my account back. I'd have it for a week and I'd get banned. And then I'd fight another 3-4 weeks, disputing it like every other day. And then I'd get my account back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a solid run for about the last 3 months. I haven't been banned yet. Because apparently being mean to someone and calling them an absolute moron isn't accepted. Even though they're an absolute moron.
Right.
Oh, well, shit, Crump and everybody's live. Hey, let's do this, man. Let's kill this. You guys jump over to Crump or Dark and or Rich, because they're live right now.
Right.
And let's go harass them in the chat. I done lost track of time. But yeah, you perks be cool, guys. Love it talking to you guys. Let's go bounce over. Let's give Dark and everybody some love. And go hang out in their chats and shoot the breeze. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me this is one of the first days where I could switch over to my subscriptions and see John Crump's live in my subscriptions. There for the longest time, man. It's been a couple of weeks, if not longer than that. Rich would pop up in my subscriptions more than Dark would. Oh, it looks like they got MGB on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to see that one.
So yeah.
I haven't seen
I'm
him
sending out the
Coon's age.
link to Crump there, and I'll tell you what, I'll back it out. I'll throw Rich's out there, and I'll throw Dark's out there. Well, I'll throw Dark first since it came up before Rich's. So there's Crump. Here is Dark. throw my brother Rich out there.
Dark Sand reviewing MGB. It'll take for that's a good 2 or 3 hour show right there.
Nah, so they're on with Crump. They're on Crump Live, so it'll be at least till 6, and then they'll bounce, and then I'll be able to catch the armed attorneys.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bob, good talking to you, brother. But yeah,
Yeah.
head over there, man.
Yeah,
Let's
you
sit there
too.
and chat. All you other
All
guys,
right,
hit the
see you
link.
there.
Jump over. All right, later, brother.
Bye.
Later, bro.